Let's talk about your physical engineering notebooks. So, some things to listen for, because I'm going to throw a lot of information at you, is why they are important, what kind of stuff do we put in there, and more importantly, as we're going through the video, it's a good idea for you to grab your notebook and make sure everything is formatted properly. So, page numbers and signatures and dates and witness signatures, table of contents, reference sections, what happens when we make mistakes, how do we put images in there. Those are all things that you're going to be held accountable for as we progress through the course. So your engineering notebook is this living document that is going to record what you have done throughout your engineering career. So we can look back years from now and you can see what you did the first few days of your engineering courses, unless you've already lit your engineering notebook on fire. But the idea is you should be able to give this book to someone and they should totally understand exactly what you did as we go through various projects, maybe simple machine stuff, maybe some Onshape work, maybe some design process work. Your notebook should be legible enough where people understand what's going on. Now, in the real world, this is also kind of important because it shows who had the idea and when that idea came up, right? So if two people come up with an idea at the same time and they go for the patent, you can tell if someone stole the idea or something like that, right? So it's just like backing yourself up to show exactly what you've done on those days. So there are four main sections that we're going to deal with. There's the cover of your engineering notebook. There's a table of contents. There's the content pages where all of our notes and stuff is going to happen, and the references. So again, make sure that you have your notebook ready to go. Those cheap $1.50 ones at Walmart is perfectly fine. Or if you have a really schmancy one that's already set up, that is even better. All right, so here's what you need to do. From here on out, you are only to use black ink for your engineering notebook. So you need to get some sort of a pen that is not going to bleed through your pages whenever you are hanging out in your notebook. Now on the front cover, you may need a Sharpie, and you need to identify your name first and last, the class that you're in, whether it's IED or POE or maybe both, and the period number. Now, if you've used your notebook before, that's not that big of a deal. At the very, very least, I need your name on the front in case you lose it or you leave it in class or something like that. We know who's to whom it belongs. Then we have the table of contents. So you need to save the first 2, maybe 3 pages of the notebook and not write in that quite yet. I would just write table of contents at the top so you know not to do notes or anything like that. Now, on the flip side, in the very back of your document is what we call the reference materials. This will be like different gear values. It'll be different equations, just things that we don't need to remember, and we can use that as a quick reference. So go back to that reference materials section, right? Reference materials, the top center of those last 5 pages, and we will have some things that we can paste in there to kind of practice how that stuff works. So if you need to, pause this video at the slide right here, complete those steps, and in a moment we're ready to move on. Assuming you already did that, let's look at the very first section, your table of contents. So there are 3 big things that you need for table of contents. There is the page numbers, the subject or the content, and the date. So this is for you to go back and say like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot how to do AMA of a lever. You can go back, you can look and say, oh, hey, that was page number 5. You can go back and it's right there, right? So it doesn't really matter how you set this up as long as you have a page number, a subject, and a date. If you already have some pages in there, you are welcome to link those in, but pause the video again, take a moment to create your table of contents. If you want to set it up like this, you are welcome to. I know a lot of students go page, subject, date, page, subject, date, whatever works the best for you, because we're probably not going to fill this entire notebook out. All right, now we go to the content pages. If you have an engineering notebook that's already set up, then that is amazing. If not, we need to get a ruler and your black pen to create this. So on the very top, what you're going to do is you're going to draw a big old line, and this is going to hold the title on each of those pages, and the page numbers always being on the outside of the document. The big old middle space in here is going to be for you writing notes, putting pictures in, all that good stuff. And on the bottom, we have these little sections down here, essentially 2 columns and 2 rows, where you're going to do signature and date, witness signature and date. Now, don't actually write those in there, but draw those lines so that we can fill those in. So this means when you finish a page, you can sign it to say when you finished it, and you can get a buddy to sign it to say like, hey, yes, they did this work. This is what they did. So again, let's pause the video, grab yourself a ruler, some sort of straight edge, take a few minutes, do like 5 or 6 pages, and then we'll come back and we can create some more as we need to. Now, best practices, as you guys are going forward with this, you need to have some sort of a witness that can prove that you were working on that thing on that day. So in addition to your signature, you also need probably someone nearby, someone that was witnessing your work. Now, this is not like your parents at home or anything like that. This is a colleague or like a peer, or if I was a witness to that, I can sign that thing as well. When we need to insert pages or like loose paper into our engineering notebook, it needs to be as permanent as we can possibly get. So not tape, glue. We want to show that, yes, we cemented that thing into our notebook, not something that we can pull out and swap whenever we need to. So you're going to glue that page in. If you need to trim it up a little bit, you're welcome to do so. You're going to draw brackets around it. So I would take my pen and go here and here, here and here, here and here, and just kind of like trace along the outside. That way, if something falls out, then you can, you can show that there was something there. And then the other thing is you need to sign your name so that it touches both sides of the notebook page and goes through your document. So if I were to sign my name, I would start here, I would sign across that piece of paper and kind of finish out here. So again, this shows that there's something there that was missing if it does fall out. Now, if there's blank space, and there might be, ideally you can fill everything out, but if you like to do like 1 page per day or something like that, if there is some blank space, what you'll do is you'll just draw a big old line to cover up that space, and then you'll sign your name. So this is not space for you to go back and write some extra goodies. This is saying like, hey, at the end of the day, this is all I did. I'm going to cross it out. I'm going to sign my name to prove that's the case. This person looks like they need to get a witness signature and a date, but the rest looks pretty dang good. And you will mess up, whether it's a calculation or spelling error or something like that. That is okay. You can go back and change that. And the way that you do that is you cross it out with a single line. Do not like scratch it out or black it out as much as you possibly can. Write the correct spelling, calculation, whatever above it, and put your initials there. So they wrote Botox instead of borax. So they went back, they crossed it out. They wrote the correct spelling, and they initialed there. So whoever this is had the initials CD all the way down. And remember, overall, be neat, be legible, be accurate, and be thorough. Take your time, especially because you're working in pen. Really think about how you are creating these pages. So let's do it. For anything that we've done in class so far, go ahead and paste things in, bracket them, sign them, get some witness signatures. I know the dates aren't going to line up quite like we want them to, but then we'll be ready to go to get into class. So our expectation is whenever we have notebook checks, I should be able to grab your notebook at any time. Everything is linked to your table of contents. Everything is page numbers, titles, signatures, witness signatures, and dates, which is a lot, but I know you guys can do it. Take some time to set up your notebook and make sure it is ready to go for class.